What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, and I'm back at y'all with another one. So, there's reports coming out by Ring Magazine, as you see right here, stating that first ballot Hall of Famer, 3-division world champion, former undisputed lightweight, former WBC junior welterweight, and reigning WBO welterweight world champion, superstar boxer, Devin the Dream Haney, 33 wins, no loss, no draw, 15 wins by way of knockout. They're reporting that Devin Haney and his biggest rival in the sport right now, Mexican superstar, newly crowned WBC welterweight world champion, King Ryan Garcia, 25 wins, 2 losses, no draw, 20 wins by way of knockout, are in negotiations, are set to begin negotiations in April, as you see they're saying, for a showdown. For one, it says in the summer. And people are running rampant, multiple people sending it to me, and people are getting excited. But I just talked to father, trainer, and manager, CEO of DHP, Devin Haney Promotions, Bill Haney, and he said nobody talked to him. He hasn't spoken to anybody. It's just not true. In today's time in the sport of boxing, this is why I say it's the Wild Wild West. People could just make up things as they go. And then they'll find a way to place the onus and the blame on Devin and Bill and try to somehow make it that they are avoiding a rematch. The key thing is, prior to Devin fighting Jose Ramirez and prior to Ryan fighting Rolly Romero, which was supposed to be Isaac Pitbull Cruz, they already had an agreement in place to do a rematch. And Ryan didn't hold up his end of the bargain like he didn't hold up his end of the bargain in the first fight. April 20th of 2024. Where he missed weight by 3.5 pounds, tested positive for a banned substance that he still has yet to prove how it got in his system, but we know it's in his system. He done blamed every Tom, Dick, and Harry possible for him testing positive, and now his daddy, Henry Garcia, is going on a blame tour. He blaming Zab Judah. Zab Judah went in on him today. He didn't blame Zab Judah. He blamed Scooter. They brought in Scooter 24 hours. I want y'all to understand this. They brought Scooter in 24 hours before the fight to help him cut weight. They're claiming they didn't know who Scooter was to begin with. They never met him, Henry and Ryan. So my question is this: who advised them to go with Scooter? Because they're trying to say that Zab Judah, being Devin Haney's godfather, and Zab Judah working with Scooter during his boxing career, Zab Judah's a Hall of Famer, a legend. And like Zab said today, I ain't never been associated with cheating a day in my life in the sport of boxing. And he worked with Scooter for years. He was cheated, but he never cheated. Right? So, like Zab said, why would I advise Scooter to taint Ryan Garcia supplements with performance enhancers to go against my godson? Why would I give him the tools to hurt my godson? Wouldn't that be Zab working against Bill and Devin? I'm going to give him the tools to seriously hurt my godson, just in case when it's over, so we can say that he cheated. How does that make sense? How does that make sense? I'm looking for Henry Garcia. I done reached out to Mill City Boxing, And I said, put me on with Henry Garcia because I want to sit down. I want to talk to Henry Garcia. Right? Because he ain't making no sense. I've been telling y'all that for years now. Since that, it's 2026. Since that fight happened April of 2024. This is about to be April of 2026, 2 years ago. I've been saying I want to sit down with Henry and ask him these questions because he ain't making no sense. Again, like I told y'all, Ryan Garcia's first instinct with any and everything is to lie. I did the video. I showed you he lied with Shakur Stevenson just yesterday. His first instinct with everything is to lie. And growing up how I grew up in the hood, the OGs always told me, if your first instinct to do anything, that's naturally who you are. If you get into an altercation and your first instinct is to run, that's who you are. If you get into an altercation and situation and your first instinct is to lie, that's who you are. Right? Because you don't have the time to think and plan and plot. So therefore, people are reporting that Devin, Haney, and Ryan are going to enter negotiations in April. Why would they enter negotiations in April? I would love to see the rematch, just because I know that Devin Haney's going to win the rematch, and it's the satisfaction, because I know. See, I'm a person. I have 9 kids, 5 boys, 4 girls, and with all my kids and my experience with my kids, right? I can tell when they lying or not. And I tell them all the time, you only hurting yourself. You know I know that you're lying. Ryan knows we know he's lying. He first stated that he don't even take supplements. Then that turned from he don't take supplements to they, keyword they told him that it was the ashwagandha root. Who is they? He never told us who the they was that told him it was the ashwagandha root. Then he went from it was the ashwagandha root. Now, first you don't take supplements, but now you do take supplements. And then he went from that to saying he takes super carbs. Why would you take super carbs if you're having a hard time cutting weight? I've been in a weightlifting bodybuilding circle for a very long time. I know people that do bodybuilding, weightlifting, all that. If you're trying to cut weight, the first thing they're going to do is cut out your carbs, because it holds water. So if you're trying to lose weight, why would you have super carbs out of all supplements to add to your regimen? That doesn't even make sense. That makes 0 sense in itself. Then he went and said it was the super carbs. So then the manufacturers of the company then go out and do their homework, because their brand is under attack and being tarnished. So they come out, defend themselves, get the lot number, do all their homework and their due diligence, only to show that Ryan Garcia was lying about that. Then he says, from that point, that Scooter. Now, get this. This is the diabolical part. That Henry, when talking to Greg Hackett, shouts out to my brother Greg Hackett. When Henry talking to Greg Hackett, Henry says, we still don't know. So if you don't know, but you believe that Ryan was set up, right? Then how are you pointing the finger at Scooter? And he said that Scooter tainted the supplements 24 hours before the fight. He must have put something in his batch, because all the other batches with that lot number came out clean. So Scooter tainted his batch. But remember, his security guard who people were saying looked like he was a bodybuilder on Performance Enhancement. He quickly fired him. What happened to him? It's everybody's fault. Henry don't hold him accountable. His mom don't hold him accountable. And that's why he don't hold himself accountable. So he's pointing the finger at any and everybody except himself. And then Henry says, well, he was drinking. He's guilty of drinking and using recreational drugs use. But I know my son don't. You don't know what your son will do. A wise person always told me, my mother, never ever say what your kids would and would not do because you simply don't know. Because she didn't know. And when she was doing what she was doing, her parents didn't know. So don't ever. Now you ain't got to publicly tarnish your children, but don't ever be naive to the point where you say, my kids would never do such a thing. Because you don't know what your kids would do. Or what they're doing once they get to a certain age. So Henry sitting there trying to defend it just sounds absolutely silly and diabolical. Because first and foremost, I need to ask Henry this. If you felt like you were set up, then Henry tells Greg Hackett that it was Victor Conte. You know who Victor Conte is, right? It's Victor Conte. You know who Victor Conte is. And Vada, but you used Vada twice after the fight with Devin Haney. Use Vada for Rolly Romero fight, which you look like trash and lost. Then use Vada for Mario Barrios. So if Vada is connected to Victor Conte, are you having them investigated still to this day to prove your innocence? Or you just okay and satisfied with the results and just gonna move on and you rather just pretend that you know that he was set up rather than actually prove he was set up? See, that's guilt. See, if I know I'm innocent, I'm not gonna stop to prove until I prove my innocence. They just satisfied with the public opinion because it's Devin Haney and people don't like Devin Haney simply because he has a father figure that's actually in his life. That's what it all boils down to. That's the reality to it. He has a father that supports him. And the people that look like Devin Haney are jealous. I mean, Keyshawn Davis admitted it and Shakur Stevenson admitted it. That they felt a certain kind of way because Devin Haney had the finer things in life because of Bill Haney, his father. Shakur said, I went to Devin's house and he had a mansion and Bentleys already, and this was when we was young and in the amateurs. And that's why Bill said, I used to feed you when you came to my house. And Shakur admitted saying, I wanted that. I was going to stop at nothing to get that. See the difference between, and Keyshawn, he said, man, F that dude, man. He got a daddy. We don't even know what that is over here. This all boils down to, again, their dislike for Bill Haney because Devin Haney has a father who supports him and is in his life and has been giving him the fine. See, this is the difference between Bill Haney and everybody else. The difference is, you see, all the other fathers in the other fighters' life, majority of them are trying to be in the limelight. Bill Haney don't need to be in the limelight. You know why? He's already been in the limelight. He's not living vicariously through Devin Haney. You know why? Because he already had Bentleys that he put Devin Haney in. He already had mansions that he put Devin Haney in. He already had bands and money, regardless of how he got it. He already experienced those things in life. Now, he's just trying to give his children the best possible opportunity to be able to achieve all those things on their own. And Devin Haney has achieved it not only financially, but he has also achieved it in his legacy. He is a first ballot Hall of Famer. and people still run with narratives he ain't got no chin. Yet Ryan Garcia has been on the canvas in multiple fights, and not one person on this internet and in social media talks about Ryan Garcia not having a chin. He been down by Rolly and lost. He been stopped by Tank Davis. He was hurt 3 times in the fight with Devin Haney. You go back and watch it visibly, and he admitted it, right? He even said after the fight, Devin Haney hits harder than Tank Davis, right? He also was dropped by Luke Campbell. So he was hurt by Haney, rocked by Rolly and dropped, stopped by Tank twice in that fight, and dropped by Luke Campbell. Then you look at Rolly Romero, dropped by Tank Davis and stopped by Isaac Pitbull Cruz, dropped by Ishmael Barroso and arguably lost the fight, and got a controversial win over Jackson Marinez. And people said Mayweather Promotions set that up because Rolly, they didn't want him to take an L. Nobody says that Rolly and Ryan Garcia are chinny. Nobody talks about that. When is the last time Rolly knocked somebody out brutally? Nobody says that he don't have punching power. When is the last time Ryan Garcia knocked somebody out? Nobody says he don't have punching power. Oscar Duarte, he didn't knock out Devin Haney. He gets knocked down, but he didn't knock them out. Devin Haney knocked down Regis Prograis. Devin Haney knocked down Brian Norman. But his punching power is still in question. He been hurt by Jorge Linares, who had more knockouts than Devin had fights. He was hurt by Ryan Garcia. So he touched the canvas in his career a total of 3 times and was hurt by 2 people. But faced all those guys are power punchers. Regis Prograis, Jorge Linares, Ryan Garcia, and Brian Norman. Brian Norman's a highlight reel. Knockout of the year. So again, he put them on the canvas. Brian Norman, durable. Regis was durable. He put him on the canvas. So why is his chin in question when he fight power punchers? He was only hurt by 2. And why is his power in question when he's dropped as many people as everybody else? Devin Haney had knockout of the year. People forget that. So how come he's always in question? I tell you why. Because they don't like his father. They don't like, and it comes from the people that look like him and look like Bill. That's where it comes from. That's where it stems from. It don't stem from people outside the community. It stems from people that look like him. You got people, male and female, hating on Devin Haney and can't tell you why. The only thing they'll say, man, you a Haney fanboy. You a Haney. But it's just diabolical. At the end of the day, this is not true. I talked to Bill Haney. He said it's not true. He didn't speak to anybody. Doesn't know what anybody's talking about. And so now I was watching the General 7A Sports TV, and you got people now all of a sudden, they trying to talk down Rolly Romero because it looked like Devin and Rolly going to fight May 30th in Vegas. And now people are talking about, man, Rolly was trash. He been trash. Because you know what Devin Haney's going to do. So now you're trying to diminish Rolando Rolly Romero. But before he got to this, it was Rolly would knock him out. Rolly is unorthodox. Rolly with one punch. Devin ain't got no chin. Said the same thing with Brian Norman. And you know, at the very least, it's going to look like the Brian Norman fight. You know that. Any real person boxing mind knows at the very least, it's going to look like the Brian Norman fight. At the very least. Hey, man, that's all I got for y'all, man. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. I'm gone. Peace.